and happy holidays! Today we are creating 3 snow globe ornaments, including this snowy lamppost style, the standalone Christmas tree version, and for the more advanced DIYer, this wintry forest scene with mountains. Plastic is better in this case. It creates a nice static effect. Got this at Michael's. This is an extra large plastic ornament. I used a few different sizes, but essentially black acrylic or brown acrylic paint with a little metallic in it is what I did because I had some time. If you don't have time, go to your CVS or Walgreens, get metallic brown nail polish and use that. Swirl around the bottom and you'll be dry within a couple minutes. I used paint just because I felt like it was a little bit easier on the lungs personally. So to get started, you're going to need some time for this to dry. So if you want to do it the night before, by all means, go for it. It's just a matter of swirling it to your content and making sure there's not as much pooling at the bottom. All of these materials are essentially local craft store clear glitter, not to be confused with white. This is just chunky clear glitter. Of course, Q-tips, some minis, if you have some skewers around the house, paper towels, of course, E6000. I got this lamppost again at Michael's. It's a pair. I kind of destroyed one during the testing phases, so you're welcome. You didn't have to learn the hard way. I'm helping you out here. Essentially, make sure your minis that you get are in good condition. Pull off any little bits that might have come up during production. Load it up with E6000. Before you do that, though, make sure you test it to make sure it will fit. These lampposts are really cool, but they don't fit in all of them. They only fit in the jumbo plastic pieces. So just be mindful that you want to test it ahead of time and make sure you can physically get it in. I did, as you can kind of see in the outlines, I did it a little bit too soon and the paint was still drying. Most unfortunate, but I know where it's going to go and I have a nice line of sight where it's headed. So this is pretty big, so thankfully you can use your fingers to essentially just drop it in and get it as close as possible. And again, use your fingers to push the lamppost down to make sure it makes good contact. Now, it's a little bit trickier when you use other pieces. So this is just, as I'm sure you guys have all seen, the little wire brush trees. They come in a pack of like, I think a dozen or so in different sizes. This is where your skewers come in handy. E6000, the heck out of the bottom of it. And then you're going to just really carefully get it in there. And don't be worried. This is not hot glue, so you do have a little bit of wiggle room in between finessing where it needs to finally end up. It should have pretty good contact with the bottom. Now again, this one's for the more advanced DIYer. I used actually miniatures from like the toy train section of Michael's because they're a little bit nicer quality. As you can tell, they're a little bit more realistic looking. They do shed, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's the least of my worries as far as I'm concerned. You do have to assemble them a little bit and slide the bottom piece on, but works to your advantage. I did test these out. They will squeeze in there, but it is a tight fit. Now, the reason I'm saying this is a little bit more advanced and for a DIYer is you are going to load the heck up out of these with E6000. Now, the main one I like to try to get as close to the middle as possible. It's also my largest tree. Now, as you can tell, I obviously created a little bit of a mountain range with the paint on the side, and that's partially for aesthetic reasons, but it's partially because this next part, when you're putting the other trees in and you are very, very patiently trying to get them into the correct spot and bending them, you'll see here in a second that it's very difficult because it's a curved ornament. Obviously, it doesn't have as much contact, which is partially why you're going to add an abundantly huge amount of E6000. And you can see here how I've bent that base a little bit, so it has more of an option in range to reach to the edge of the ornament and hopefully stick a little better. Now these you have to be a little bit more careful with just because you really got to glue them down to make sure they fit. But using some skewers that you have around the house, or if you're surgically inclined, whatever you have, tweezers, make it happen. After a little bit, it's going to take some time, I promise, especially the first time you do it. You can get 3, 1, or a lamppost in. Let it dry a couple hours. I left mine overnight. Give them a good shake for the ones that are just the one piece to make sure they stay in there. And then you're glittering. So this is clear glitter. It's in like the crafty section. It's transparent. I want to say it's like the kids' felt and things like that, at least in my Michael's. Make yourself a nice little paper funnel, open it up to make sure you can get as much glitter in as possible. And I will say, if you do this lamppost one, the lamppost is so tall that it can get backed up with the glitter as you're pouring it in, so just be mindful of that. Keep adding or tweaking however much you like. In this instance, I opted to use these little minis, which I thought looked like bushes, and add them in because I thought that'd be kind of cool. So I cut off the little stems and just popped them in. And of course, you're making your own thing, so if you don't like them, don't add them. But I thought they added a little something extra, and they kind of look like little shrubberies. Moving on to the really simple one, if you guys are following along doing that, it's up to you how much glitter you want to put in. I like to put enough in so you don't see the base anymore. For me, that brown base is mostly so that way if you look at the bottom of the ornament and let's say you signed it, or you put "to the Marshalls from me 2016, you had a kind of a clear base without seeing the base of the tree. Now covering your hand over the opening and twisting, and you probably shouldn't shake it unless you're really confident, which apparently I was feeling, that plastic is going to help create the static electricity to help keep the snow globe effect on the edge. Now you can do this in glass, the glass ornaments, but it doesn't have as much of that static effect, so it's really up to you. Now this one probably should have been done in glass just because one, it looks a little bit nicer, and two, it's hard to see as much in there with all of the snow on the edges until it's up on the tree. But again, up to you what you have resources. If you've got kids who's going to be, oh, look at this, maybe don't use the glass. All right, so after you know without a shadow of a doubt that everything is dry, it's time to enjoy. So see here, this is what I'm talking about. The mountains look really cool. You can see the trees, but there's a lot of snow on the edges. To me, it looks cool, but it's up to you. I like the multi-layer and dimensions in this, so it's really up to you how crazy you want to go with your paint / nail polish mountainscape on the side. I promise it just takes a little bit of time to be patient and watch and keep twisting. And then again, if you're just sticking with a simple one, also very quick, very easy, especially if you do the nail polish route, just make sure you use good ventilation. It looks super pretty on a tree. And then my favorite, the snowy lamppost. Can't go wrong there. I hope you guys enjoyed and look forward to making more tutorials with you soon. If you create anything along these lines or anything else, please share them with me. I'd love to see what you created this holiday season. Make sure you tweet at me, share it on my Facebook page, or I'm now on Instagram, and I will put those links down below for you to share. And if you want to see any of my other Christmassy tutorials, just take a look at the link I share in the comments. It'll link to all of the Christmas decor and things that I have shared over the years. Thanks so much for watching.